Ancient Greece, a world on the cusp of discovery, the birthplace of democracy, philosophy and theatre, a society grappling with new ideas, challenging old norms. From this vibrant melting pot of thought and innovation, a legend emerged. Socrates, the philosopher who would change the world. He wouldn't do it with armies or empires, but with questions. Socrates wasn't born into wealth or power. He lived among the people, his life intertwined with the bustling streets of Athens. His father, a sculptor, and his mother, a midwife, provided a humble upbringing. Yet, from these humble beginnings, Socrates would rise to become one of the most influential thinkers of all time. Imagine Athens in the 5th century BC, a city alive with debate where ideas were exchanged as freely as goods in the marketplace. The air buzzed with philosophical discourse. It was in this crucible of intellectual ferment that Socrates honed his craft. He wasn't confined to ivory towers or secluded gardens. Socrates walked among the people, engaging anyone who would listen. He believed that true wisdom resided not in pronouncements from on high, but in the shared pursuit of knowledge. His method was simple yet profound. He asked questions, lots of them. The Athenian Agora, the heart of the city, a vibrant marketplace of ideas and commerce. Here, Socrates roamed, engaging citizens from all walks of life. He questioned the poets on the nature of beauty, the politicians on justice, the artisans on the meaning of craftsmanship. His relentless questioning challenged assumptions and exposed contradictions. He was a gadfly, stinging the complacency of Athenian society. Some were drawn to his wisdom, eager to engage in his thought-provoking dialogues. Others felt their beliefs challenged, their authority undermined. Socrates, however, remained undeterred. He believed that the unexamined life was not worth living. He saw his role not as a dispenser of knowledge, but as a midwife of thought, helping others give birth to their own understanding. Through his relentless questioning, he sought to uncover the underlying principles that governed human behavior. What is justice? What is virtue? These were not abstract philosophical concepts to Socrates, but essential questions that lay at the heart of a meaningful life. He believed that by understanding these principles, we could live more just and fulfilling lives. Socrates himself wrote nothing down. His teachings were spread through word of mouth, passed down through generations of students. One such student, Plato, would later immortalize his teacher's ideas in his dialogues, ensuring that Socrates' legacy would endure. Socrates believed that true knowledge came not from memorizing facts, but from engaging in rigorous self-examination. He challenged his students to question everything they thought they knew, to delve beneath the surface of conventional wisdom and seek out the underlying truth. His method, known as the Socratic method, has become a cornerstone of Western education. It's a method of inquiry-based learning, where the teacher guides students through a series of questions, leading them to discover the answers for themselves. This approach fosters critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and a lifelong love of learning. But Socrates' influence extended far beyond the classroom. His teachings challenged the very foundations of Athenian society. He questioned the authority of the state, the validity of traditional beliefs, and the nature of power itself. Imagine yourself in the bustling Athenian Agora. The sun beats down, casting long shadows. The air hums with activity. You encounter Socrates, a man of simple attire yet captivating presence. He engages you in conversation, his eyes twinkling with curiosity. "Tell me," he begins, his voice calm and steady, "what is justice?" You might stumble at first, offering a definition you've always accepted, but Socrates, with gentle persistence, probes deeper. He presents scenarios, each one testing your understanding, forcing you to confront inconsistencies in your beliefs. This is the essence of the Socratic method. It's not about providing answers, but about asking the right questions. Socrates believed that true knowledge lay dormant within each individual, waiting to be discovered. His method acted as a catalyst, sparking the flame of critical thinking. He would often feign ignorance, claiming to know nothing, to encourage his interlocutors to explain their reasoning. This approach, known as Socratic irony, was disarming and effective. It broke down barriers, creating a space for genuine intellectual exploration. Through a series of carefully crafted questions, Socrates would expose flaws in logic, revealing contradictions and prompting deeper reflection. He wasn't interested in winning arguments or asserting his own views. His goal was to guide individuals towards a more nuanced and reasoned understanding. The Socratic method, while seemingly simple, was revolutionary. It challenged the traditional approach to learning, which often relied on rote memorization and unquestioning acceptance of authority. Socrates believed that true learning required active engagement and critical analysis. He encouraged his students to question everything, to take nothing for granted. He wanted them to think for themselves, to develop their own reasoned conclusions. This emphasis on independent thought was both empowering and unsettling for some. Socrates' relentless questioning often exposed the shallowness of conventional wisdom. He challenged the beliefs of the elite and the common man alike, showing that often what we take for granted is based on unexamined assumptions and flawed reasoning. This approach did not always win him friends. He was seen as a troublemaker, a corrupter of youth. His insistence on questioning the status quo threatened those in power who benefited from the unquestioning obedience of the masses. But Socrates remained undeterred. He believed that a life without critical inquiry was a life half-lived. The Socratic method wasn't just about individual enlightenment. Socrates believed that true knowledge emerged through dialogue, through the clash of ideas and perspectives. He saw conversation as a collaborative pursuit of truth, where each participant contributed to the collective understanding. He would often gather his students in public spaces, engaging them in lively debates on issues ranging from ethics and politics to art and love. These dialogues were not mere academic exercises, but vibrant exchanges that reflected the complexities of the human experience. Socrates believed that through dialogue we could bridge differences, find common ground, and move closer to a shared understanding of truth. He saw conversation as a powerful tool for social change, a way to challenge injustice and promote a more just and equitable society. His legacy lives on in the countless dialogues that continue to shape our world today. From classrooms to courtrooms, from boardrooms to online forums, the Socratic method remains a vital tool for fostering critical thinking, promoting understanding, and advancing the pursuit of knowledge. Socrates' relentless questioning, his unwavering pursuit of truth, began to stir unease among some Athenians. The city, once lauded for its intellectual openness, was growing wary of this man who dared to challenge its deeply held beliefs. Whispers turned to accusations. Socrates was charged with impiety, with corrupting the youth of Athens, with undermining the very foundations of their society. His accusers, driven by a mix of fear and resentment, painted him as a dangerous radical, a threat to the established order. Among his accusers were those whose hypocrisy he had exposed, whose authority he had challenged. They saw in his trial an opportunity to silence a voice that had become too powerful, too disruptive. The charges against him, politically motivated and lacking concrete evidence, reflected the fragility of a society grappling with change. Socrates, however, remained undeterred. He saw the trial not as a personal attack, but as an opportunity to defend his beliefs, to make a stand for the importance of critical thinking and the pursuit of truth, even in the face of adversity. Imagine the scene, the Athenian courtroom, packed with citizens eager to witness this clash of ideologies. Socrates, standing tall and resolute, facing his accusers with the same unwavering gaze he had directed at countless interlocutors in the Agora. His defense was not a plea for mercy, but a powerful articulation of his philosophical principles. He argued that a life without questioning, without the pursuit of truth, was no life at all. He saw his role not as a destroyer of Athenian values, but as a physician attempting to heal the city's soul. He reminded the jury that he had never claimed to possess all the answers. He was, he insisted, a fellow seeker of truth, guiding others along the path of self-discovery. His accusers, he argued, were more interested in silencing dissent than in engaging in meaningful dialogue. His words, though eloquent and passionate, fell on deaf ears. The jury, swayed by the accusations and fearful of the consequences of acquitting such a controversial figure, found him guilty. The sentence, death. Even in the face of his impending death, Socrates remained true to his principles. He refused to renounce his beliefs or to beg for mercy. He was given the opportunity to escape, to flee Athens and live out his days in exile. But Socrates chose to stay. He believed that true freedom lay not in evading death, but in living and dying according to one's principles. He would not betray his life's work, his unwavering commitment to truth and justice, even for the sake of self-preservation. He drank the hemlock, the poison that would end his life, surrounded by his students, his friends, those who had been touched by his wisdom and his courage. His death, a tragic loss for Athens and for the world, became a testament to the power of ideas, the enduring legacy of a man who dared to question everything. The death of Socrates sent shockwaves through Athens. A hush fell over the bustling Agora. The man who had once filled their days with questions, with challenges, with the vibrant pursuit of truth, was gone. Many who had once feared his sharp wit and relentless questioning now felt a profound sense of loss. They realized that Athens had silenced not a threat, but a guiding light. A void remained where lively debate and intellectual curiosity had once flourished. The injustice of his trial, the silencing of such a brilliant mind, weighed heavily on the conscience of the city. His accusers, once triumphant, found themselves haunted by their actions. Their victory felt hollow, their silence deafening. Socrates' death became a turning point, a stark reminder of the fragility of freedom, the ever-present danger of succumbing to fear and silencing dissenting voices. His sacrifice served as a warning, a beacon illuminating the importance of protecting intellectual freedom and the pursuit of truth. Though Socrates was gone, his ideas continued to resonate, carried forth by those who had witnessed his life and learned from his example. His teachings, once confined to the streets and public spaces of Athens, began to spread, taking root in the minds of thinkers and scholars across the ancient world. Plato, his most famous student, took up the mantle of his teacher, preserving Socrates' teachings in his dialogues and establishing his own school of philosophy, the Academy. Through Plato, the Socratic method found new life, becoming a cornerstone of Western philosophical thought. Aristotle, Plato's student, would further develop and refine these ideas, shaping Western intellectual tradition for centuries to come. The seed that Socrates had planted, nurtured by his students and countless others inspired by his life, blossomed into a rich and diverse philosophical tradition. His emphasis on critical thinking, on questioning assumptions, on seeking truth through dialogue, transcended the boundaries of time and place. It resonated with those seeking meaning and understanding in a world often shrouded in uncertainty and dogma. Centuries passed. Empires rose and fell. Yet the echoes of Socrates' teachings continued to reverberate through the halls of time. From the Stoics, who found solace in his emphasis on virtue and reason, to the Cynics, who admired his simple lifestyle and rejection of material wealth, his influence transcended philosophical schools and movements. The Renaissance, with its thirst for knowledge and rediscovery of classical learning, found a kindred spirit in Socrates. His emphasis on human reason and the pursuit of truth resonated deeply with thinkers like Leonardo da Vinci and Erasmus, who sought to break free from the constraints of medieval dogma. The Enlightenment, with its focus on individual liberty and the power of reason, drew heavily on Socrates' legacy. Thinkers like John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau echoed his call for a just society, one founded on principles of reason and critical inquiry, where individuals were free to question authority and pursue their own understanding of truth. Today, in a world awash in information where certainty often feels elusive, the legacy of Socrates remains as relevant as ever. His simple yet profound question, "What do you mean by that?" continues to challenge us, to push us beyond the surface of easy answers and unexamined assumptions. In an age of echo chambers and filter bubbles, where we are often surrounded by those who share our views, the Socratic method reminds us of the importance of engaging with different perspectives, of embracing the discomfort of intellectual friction as a path to greater understanding. Socrates' life and death serve as a timeless reminder that the pursuit of truth and justice requires courage, integrity, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. His legacy is not a set of doctrines or dogma, but a call to action, an invitation to live examined lives, to never stop questioning, to never stop seeking wisdom and understanding. Socrates famously declared that the unexamined life is not worth living. But what did he mean by this? He wasn't suggesting that we all need to become philosophers, spending our days dissecting abstract theories. He was advocating for a life of conscious awareness, a life where we engage with the world around us with curiosity and a critical mind. To live an unexamined life is to drift through our days on autopilot, accepting things at face value, never questioning the why behind our actions, our beliefs, our values. It is to be passive passengers on the journey of life, rather than active navigators charting our own course. Socrates challenged us to be architects of our own destinies, to build lives of meaning and purpose. This requires self-reflection, a willingness to confront our own biases, to question our assumptions, and to be open to new perspectives. It is a lifelong journey of learning and growth, one that requires courage, humility, and an unwavering commitment to truth. The unexamined life is a life lived in the shadows, a life where our potential remains untapped, our voices unheard. Socrates urged us to step into the light, to embrace the fullness of our humanity by engaging with the world around us with open minds and open hearts. I know that I know nothing. This paradoxical statement, often attributed to Socrates, encapsulates the essence of his philosophical approach. It is a statement of humility, acknowledging the vastness of knowledge and the limitations of human understanding. Socrates believed that true wisdom lies not in possessing all the answers, but in recognizing the limits of our own knowledge. It is this awareness, this intellectual humility, that allows us to approach the world with a sense of wonder, a thirst for knowledge, and an openness to new ideas. To claim to know everything is to shut ourselves off from the possibility of learning, of growing, of expanding our understanding. It is to become stagnant, trapped in our own limited perspectives. Socrates, by embracing his own not knowing, opened himself up to a world of possibilities, a world where every question, every challenge became an opportunity for growth. His legacy is a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge is not a destination, but a journey, one marked by curiosity, doubt, and a willingness to embrace uncertainty. It is in the asking of questions, not in the claiming of answers, that we truly grow. Socrates left behind no written works. His legacy is not enshrined in dusty tomes or grand pronouncements, but in the echoes of his questions, questions that continue to resonate through the centuries, challenging us to think critically, to live ethically, and to never stop seeking truth. His spirit lives on in the classrooms where students grapple with complex ideas, in the courtrooms where justice is sought through reasoned argument, and in the everyday conversations where individuals strive to understand each other better. Socrates' legacy is a call to action, an invitation to live examined lives, to engage in meaningful dialogue, and to never shy away from asking difficult questions. It is a reminder that the pursuit of truth and justice is a collective endeavor, one that requires courage, integrity, and an unwavering commitment to reason and critical thinking. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, facing challenges both ancient and unprecedented, let us remember the lessons of Socrates. Let us embrace the power of questions, the importance of dialogue, and the enduring pursuit of truth. For it is in asking, in seeking, in never settling for easy answers that we honour his legacy and keep the flame of wisdom burning bright.